Hello, hello. I am so happy to see you today. Today was a much better day. I am coming to you with a much more grounded space. And that grounding, well, I had someone PM me and say, "What do you mean by grounding? What is this grounding stuff?" And I thought, how perfect, because actually what I want to talk about today is really about grounding. And I thought I could address it publicly because, I am super glad to have discovered it and have an understanding of it, and been practicing it now for a decade or more. And whoa, are we in some crazy times? Just the uncertainty, and never before, at least in my lifetime, have we gone through have we experienced change and upset and really it's the uncertainty, like the no end date of the uncertainty, and the my goodness, what might happen tomorrow. It's anxiety producing, and fear, anxiety, frustration, discomfort, all of those are physiological experiences. They are of the body. We feel them, right? They're physiological. And so grounding is a physical way to is a physical antidote to those feeling states. So I've talked a ton about fear in some other videos. And again, if you ever want to see a listing of my videos, they're on my website, elisemcconnell.com, www.elisemcconnell.com. Have a look. That's where there's a listing. I think there's a YouTube channel, ability to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Anyway, but there's much more about fear there. I'm not going to spend time on fear today. That's why I'm directing you there if you want more info. For this conversation, though, I do want to talk about what grounding offers. So grounding allows your body to energetically deposit the anxiety, deposit that energy that isn't working, that's like, if you've ever had that, there's mindset things you can do, there's mental things you can do, there's emotional things you can do. This is a physical thing you can do, and the best thing is to do it with bare feet or bare hands. I sometimes, out here in the trees, you can see I'm leaning on a little tree here. I sometimes will simply, that whole tree hugging thing, there's something to it. And giving yourself a couple of minutes to reset. And so the trick of it is you actually make some contact in nature physically without rubber, or, I sometimes will have my socks on, but, ideally with I would take my gloves off, right? So ideally with no glove, and you make contact, and then you sit for a minute or two, and you just allow, and I actually sometimes will actually take a deep breath. Focus on letting all of the energy, all of the negative things. Sometimes it's just as simple as I'm releasing anything that isn't of my highest, anything that isn't serving me. And then I feel a difference. And if you don't feel anything, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You don't have to even think about it, because it's happening anyway. I promise. We're physiological beings. We're connected to this bigger universe. All of this is of nature. So are you. So you don't have to understand it. I don't understand how come this tree has all these curvy leaves. It has something to do with light, but why don't they grow straight up? Why do they have the curve? Someone understands that. I don't have to appreciate the tree, to have the contribution of the grounding. All you have to do is find the time, create the space, breathe, and see if it doesn't make a difference. So I'd love to hear from any of you that want to share how it goes if you haven't been grounding yet. And there's lots of ways to ground. I actually just got off the phone with a good friend of mine who I haven't talked to in a few months. She lives in Mexico, and it was such a great grounding experience to create that connection and hear her voice and feel that contribution. Again, all sensory, all feeling state. And I got off the phone and felt better. So I wish you all a fantastic rest of your day. Happy grounding.